Hey everyone, so I kind of just got home. I actually got home like a half an hour ago. And what I did was I got home, I went on my computer, I read some comments, I watched some videos, and then I started reading Shift. And I wasn't expecting to read that. I was actually expecting to read Seconds Away by Harlan Coben, but that didn't happen. So I'm not reading this, I'm reading Shift. And I am just sucked into it and I can't stop reading it. I'm probably not going to pick this up tonight. I'll pick it up tomorrow for sure. I really want to finish Shift tonight so I can pick this up tomorrow, but I don't know. It's such an amazing book right now. But anyway, I got home and I completely forgot about 13 Reasons Why. I finished this. This is 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher, and this is a book review on this book. So let's get started. First, I have to start by saying this was an amazing book. I could barely wait to get home to review this for you guys because it was so good. Like, there were parts where I wanted to cry, but I didn't really cry because it was just kind of weird to cry, but the book was so amazing. Now, while I read the book, it was a huge mystery, like, when is Clay gonna come up, when, blah, blah, blah. So basically, forgot to tell you what this book's about. This book is about Clay Jensen and Hannah Baker. Hannah Baker committed suicide, and before she committed suicide, she recorded tapes, 13 tapes, and each of the tapes talks about a person slash a reason why she committed suicide. And after she commits suicide, before she commits suicide, she sends the tapes to the first person, and then she commits suicide, and the tapes are passed on from person to person, and all 13 people receive the tapes. Now, Clay Jensen, who was had a crush on Hannah Baker, got these tapes. And when he started listening, he had no idea. And when he started listening to them, he found out what they were, and his name was on the list. And there's certain reasons how they know that their name's on the list and all that. And so it gets passed down the line, and Clay is like the 9th person or whatever. So throughout the whole book, it revolves around one night, and Clay Jensen is listening to Hannah Baker's story, her suicide story, why she committed suicide. And it's very amazing. I love this. It's got like cassette 1, side A and B. And if you notice here, in italicized letters, Hannah Baker is talking. So if you see the first line there, if you can read that, it's like in italicized letters right there, and then and then one line below it is in just regular letters, and Clay Jensen is talking. So in a way, it's like two perspectives. It's Hannah's perspective and Clay's, but not really. It's still in one perspective, but because she's talking into the tapes, and that's how it is in the book, it's as if they're giving two perspectives. So it's very amazing. I love the way it's written. I haven't found a lot of mistakes, so very good book. It's fast-paced. It's full of description. There were certain parts where it could be a little bit more descriptive, but other than that, it was an amazing, beautiful, realistic book that I feel could be inspirational to so many people. And just throughout the whole book, it's just, I was like, because Clay isn't one of the first people. He's the 9th person, so it's like at the end where you find out, about Clay. And the whole time I'm like worrying about Clay. Why is he on this list? I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so scared to hear why Clay's on these tapes, and the tension and the curiosity just builds up until you finally read his name. You do not understand the feelings you'll feel when you read his name. because all the other names are okay, it's a name, it's a person from school. But when you actually read Clay Jensen's name and you read his story, the first time I saw his name, my heart like jumped out of my chest. I was just like, it's finally here. I get to hear his story. And the story was just, I wanted to cry so bad. It was so amazing. It was so emotional, and the reason Clay's on the tapes is just, it's beautiful, but it's like, it's so hard to explain without telling you. But this was an amazing book, so if you haven't read it, go read it. I give it a 5 out of 5. I loved the writing. I loved how Clay talked. I loved how Hannah talked throughout the tapes. The character development was amazing. Hannah Baker, the way Jay Asher developed Hannah Baker, every time she spoke, you could hear her attitude. You could hear when she was solemn, or did I say it right? She was like, you could tell when there was sorrow in her voice. You could tell when she was happy, when she was calm, when she was attitude, even without the narrator or Clay saying she said it with attitude, or you could just tell how much attitude she had. It was just amazing. And then Clay Jensen, him as a person, just him listening to them throughout the whole night, it's his thoughts, he gives his thoughts on everything, and it was just such an amazing book. Now, spoiler time, so if you haven't read this, click this video off. I'm going to say bye to you now. If you have read it, please keep watching so you can hear my thoughts. Okay, so there's 13 reasons, right? The ones that I found most disturbing, if you remember the character Mark, I think his name was, Mark, in To Rosie's Restaurant, I'll kind of refresh it, Mark was supposed to meet up with Hannah in Rosie's restaurant, the Rosie restaurant, because they were, matched up for that, cheerleader match test. So they were matched up and, they went out. But first he was very late meeting her because he thought it was just a joke, blah, blah, blah. And then he took her into the booth and all that. And you probably know what I'm talking about. I just found that kind of, I don't know, disturbing in a way, but not it wasn't that bad. It was just very And then later on in the story with Bryce, when she talks about Bryce's story, or not, the tapes won't be passed on to Bryce, I don't think. But it talks about how she gets in the hot tub with Courtney Crimson and Bryce, and how Bryce gets all lovey-dovey with her, and she just kind of sits there like she's giving up. She has given up, and it's very emotional. It's very sad the way the author describes it, and I found those two, they were very similar, and it's really hard to explain. And then the minor reasons that I thought were just kind of minor, that were whatever, was with Courtney Crimson when she just used her for a ride. I mean, I know that was in there. I know that can kind of build up, it starts little, each thing is little, but it adds to a huge deal, and that's how her story ends, and it just builds up, and her life is gone. She ends her life, and that was kind of minor, but at the end, when talks about Mr. Porter, Porter? Pretty sure it's Porter. Yeah. Where they're having, the counselor, they're, talking, Mr. Porter and Hannah are talking, because he's a teacher, but he's also a counselor, and then just the way he says things, the fact that Mr. Porter's words made up Hannah's mind on what route she was going to take, go on with life or end it, and his words, he kind of he didn't help her, and it was very upsetting, but that's what happened. But I thought it was just a great ending to the story. And then the final ending with Clay, when he's finished listening to the tapes, he sends it on to the next person, and he goes into school. He was talking to a girl, Sky, the night before on the bus, and I think he said when he was on the bus with her that he had a crush on her, but he also had a crush on Hannah, but he just was too afraid to ask her out, tell her how he felt, and be with her, and try. And he felt it was his fault, that if he would have tried, he would have taken chances, she'd still be alive because she'd have him. And so, because he felt he lost his chance with Hannah, he didn't want that to happen with Sky, so at the very end of the book, he said her name. And my predictions are they're together, and they're beautifully together, and he has a wonderful girlfriend. So, the ending of the book was just amazing. The whole book was well thought out, well planned, just the reasons, how he came up with the reasons, it was just amazing. I just love this book. It was such an amazing book. It was beautiful. It was well written. It was just amazing. My #1 book so far. I love this book. I seriously love this book. Go pick it up if you haven't read it. Alright? So thanks for watching this review. I know my reviews are, a bit long. That's just because I love giving my opinions. I love talking about parts in the book. So if you've read this book, please give me your opinions. I want to say down in the comments, but if it's going to be a spoiler, I'd love you to inbox me so that we can talk about it through inboxing, because I don't want people who haven't read it to have spoilers. So if you want to say something about the book down in the comments that won't give a spoiler, that's fine. If you want to talk about, in the book, spoilers, just inbox me. That'd be great. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye.